Alrighty, everyone, my name is Mowmaster. Welcome to Effect Scrolls. This is a new mod for 119, and this was another mod that I ripped out of my Dust mod from 112, and yeah, it's back finally. Finally. Technically, it existed in Dust in 118 for the one release I did, but actually, did it exist in 118? I don't know if I ever actually updated it. I may not have. I don't remember, honestly. Anywho, yeah, so this does not require any world gen, so if you have existing amethyst clusters in your world, or amethyst geodes, their vanilla feature, then you'll be just fine, basically. So, how this works is you probably want to find yourself a geode. It's not necessarily required. This recipe does work with any forged gem, so whether it's diamonds or amethyst or nether quartz, don't matter. You can make these crystal node converters. What you do need, however, is a block of budding amethyst. So you do have to get this somehow. If you're a pack maker for a skyblock pack, making some way to get these would be handy. But yeah, so you just right click on these amethyst budding things, and it will make yourself some of these crystal nodes. Now I'm going to get rid of this amethyst here just because it's going to get in the way. But yeah, so this is how you randomly get a certain color of crystal. And with this, I lost my applicator because I used it in the recipe, and it does not. It gets consumed, basically. So you will need to make another one. That is the only downside. But yeah, so if you want to get different colors, Mowlib and all of my other mods like Pedestals and Crystal Blocks only offer up to 16 options using vanilla dye. This is the one way to get all 64 different colors that the mod offers. So pairing this with any of the other mods really works out quite well. But yeah, so you can get all the different colors, you can get crystals. Crystals do break with your hand, with a stone pickaxe, but the lower tiered ones don't really give you anything. It is recommended to use an iron pick. It takes so much less time with an iron pick to break these things. And so this is the recommended way to farm them. You can, of course, gather these as well. So if you want to place them on the ground this way, they look pretty. You can walk in them they're like torches. They're light sources. You can place them as pretties, and they don't collide with their player, which is kind of nice. I will warn you, however, these on the crystal nodes are not safe. In fact, if you walk into one, there is an explosion that goes off based on the size of crystal that you walked into. Now this works for mobs as well. So if a mob were to walk into it, the mob would explode and potentially die. It doesn't deal a massive amount of damage. I think a max tier crystal might do up to half health, but not more than that. And it also explodes some of the other ones. The crystal nodes themselves are effectively obsidian hardness wise, so they won't be exploding anytime soon. Little thing for next time. But yeah, so this is kind of how you go about collecting your crystals, is you would just mine them up like that, and boom, there you go. You got crystals. Alright, what do crystals do and what do crystal nodes do? Well, crystal nodes, if you're a pack maker, can convert blocks into other blocks. This is a recipe that we're going to end up using here in a little bit. I'm going to just pull this one because... Oh, why did that not break off in the right color? That might be a bug. I just found a bug. Alright. Is that really a bug? It is a bug. Oh my gosh. Alright, that's something we can fix. This doesn't work that way, though. Oh, weird. Okay, whatever. I found a bug in a video. Yay! I'll have that fixed before I get a major release out for this mod for sure. Right, so crystal nodes, they have custom recipes that you can do with them. Crafting benches turn into these workstation bases. Tinted glass, which is a vanilla thing using amethyst, also turns into these crystal jars. And what these dust jars are used for is storing dust. So you can actually convert a lot of your different dust into things. So if I say if I mine this, grab me some crystals. I have more red crystals. If I go creative mode, we're trying to copy a whole bunch of these over, basically. And with those crystals, we can make dust. And it's basically 4 dust per crystal. And with that dust, we can throw it in our little jar. And if we don't like the red on red, we can convert the jar into whatever color we want. You cannot, however, in survival mode, you cannot turn these crystals into any other color. They're a resource, and the resource cannot be changed. Now, if you're in creative mode, on the other hand, of course you can change it. So there's kind of that aspect to it as well. All right, there we go. We have now dust in a jar. So what can we do with dust in a jar? Or in fact, what can we do with other crystals? Well, there's a couple things, actually. With crystals, we have the option of crystal clusters. So similar to the placeable ones in World that we use for decoration, we can actually make ourselves... Let me clear up my inventory just a little bit here. We can actually take stone slabs and crystals and make ourselves a crystal cluster base. There is a separate recipe if you have crystal blocks installed, but this is the main recipe. And then if you place up to 4 crystals on here, you can see it says crystal added, new effect is strength. So we're going to get strength from this crystal cluster, but it's not giving us anything yet. And that's because we need to fuel it, and if we want, we can give it some sort of potency modifier thing. So how this works is you can throw blaze powder into it with a right click basically, and it will give it fuel, and then it will give off an effect in an area for like, I think the base time is like 180 seconds for that, which is pretty long, 3 minutes for that effect. And I can't remember if the timer only ticks down whenever it gives out an effect. I can't remember if that's the case or not. I'll have to look at the code. But yeah, so it gives off an effect for basically 3 minutes per blaze powder, which is not bad. You can power it off with redstone, so you can conserve that time if you want to, conserve the effect. But it's like a miniature beacon. It only gives off the effect for so long. If you want to modify the effect, you can use things like redstone or glowstone or even like rabbit's foots. And then if you put a fuel type that matches the potency of the modifier, so blaze powder is only for a modifier of like if you want strength 2. If you want like strength 3, you need pop chorus fruit. If you want like strength 4 and above, you would need another star effectively. So, and for pack makers, you can convert the modifiers however you want. You can make the modifiers reduce the amount of time that the fuel gives. You can make the modifier convert the effect into a negative effect. I mean, there's all sorts of options in there. I will have documentation on that after a while. But yeah, there you go. For the players at least, you now have strength. It's the beacon effect is relatively small, so we go too far out of range here, we will lose the effect completely. But once we go back in range, I believe range for the top tier is like 4 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess technically 5 blocks. So that's not too bad. We're now in range, and we're now getting the effect constantly. So, yeah, kind of nice. If you have like a little mob farm you want to set up with these, that works out just fine. And of course, if you want your fuel and stuff back, you can just break it, and it will just pop everything out there for you. So, there you go. There is one other thing to this, though. If you don't want mobs passing by, you can now change the filter type to player. And then, of course, if we want maybe a smaller size of crystal for less range, we can now do that. And yeah, there we go. We now have a Strength 3 beacon that only affects players. The filtering system is pretty robust and configurable as well for pack makers. So you can set that to pretty much any mob you want, and even up to categories of mobs. So, like, if you want like a gold block to be animals, you can set it to animals instead of just cow. Or if you want to set up something for just a pillager, you can set up like a glass block for a pillager if you want. So the filtering system is fairly robust in that manner. What else? Oh, yes. Last but not least, we want to actually craft scrolls. So there is a whole new system with how to craft the scrolls. First, it's just the item that's... Okay. So first to craft scrolls. Oh, and I'm missing an item even. You will need yourself a blaze rod. And you will need yourself the workstation base, which we made from a crafting table on the crystal node. And yeah, if you just right-click this, again, we're making potions, so blaze rod kind of makes sense. If you right-click blaze rod on there, you can now craft potions. But first, we must repair the table. So there is kind of a repair system for some of the machines that I'm working on. You can craft this repair order using like a lantern, an iron axe, shovel, pickaxe, and maybe a hoe? I can't remember. But yeah, so you can make a repair order, and when you right-click the repair order on here, it'll actually tell you, it should tell you a title and a hint, as well as an item in your inventory can be used to repair the machine, which means that something in our inventory we can use to repair our machine, which I believe that is the dust jar. Boom, repair has been made. Oh, right, because this doesn't have rotation. if we break this and start again. Oh, I'm in creative mode. No. All right, hold on. Sorry. All right, let's not be in creative mode. Put that down. Put that on it. Then let's break this, because for some reason I didn't put rotation on those blocks. Boom, dust jar. All right. So now when we repaired it, the repair order cleared itself out. We'll right-click again, and the repair order says half a plank should be enough for this repair. If we right-click it again, we can't get a new order because it still says the same thing. So we'll jump in here, we'll grab a plank. It'll now say an item in inventory can be used to repair the machine. And we'll just right-click it right on there. And repair has been made. We'll do it again. Small way to contain bits and bobs. You might also eat out of this. What type of hint would that be? Oh, it's a bowl. Boom, there you go. For pack makers, you can customize how this is crafted any way you want. You can render what you want of the items that were inserted, and you can also position them all through data pack stuff. So it's kind of nice. Obviously, we put a bowl in, but it ended up being like a flower pot. That is part of the rendering block building system as well, so it's kind of nice. And yeah, you can kind of see the different things on here. That red dust was the exact same amount of red dust we had in here originally. If I pop back into creative mode real quick here, grab myself some crystals. Oh, I already had some. And if I craft more dust, you can actually see when we right-click this on the table, it goes up in the jar. So the jar is actually actively holding our dust for us, which is pretty cool. But yeah, that's kind of how that works. Now let's make ourselves some scrolls. So for scrolls, you must have gold nuggets, and you must have paper. Outside of that, you just need a little bit of string, and away you go. So the amount of string you right-click on here is the amount of scrolls you're going to make from the available dust, which means that we just made basically 2 scrolls of strength 1 for 4 minutes and 16 seconds. Pack makers, I believe this is very configurable on how long each piece of dust gives you for duration. There's a lot of configurability here, as well as what effect each dust gives. So, oh yeah, and it also tells us how much dust is in here, which is kind of nice. Alright, so now we have more dust. We could make more scrolls, but what if we put glowstone in here? You'll notice the band on here changed. We have a red band on here. This one has a yellow band. The metal is green. That just means it's a good effect, basically. And yeah, if we right-click, let's do 5, 8. Boom. We can batch craft a bunch of strength 16 scrolls. And this is strength 2. And all we got to do is right-click on here, and it will give us strength 2 for that duration. If you shift on here, it should tell you some information. Obviously, it's bugged right now. But if we go find ourselves a cow, run. And if we crouch right-click on this cow, boom, the cow now has strength. So you can actually now give effects to other animals or other players by crouch right-clicking on them. And if you want the effect for yourself, you just right-click. So that is kind of how the effect scrolls work, and they're quite nice. Now, what happens, per se, if you get some random dust and you don't know what it does? You throw it in there, and as you can see, that gives us a red little border. What does red border mean? I don't know yet. Let's find out. We're going to have poison 2 for 10 seconds. So the red border, or the red coin object on there, means it's a negative effect versus a positive effect. Blue is kind of like a neutral effect. I believe glowing is a blue effect, basically. And yeah, so there's various types of effects you can get, and the scroll kind of tells you kind of what it is, so, which is kind of nice. So there you go. That is kind of the whole system for effect scrolls. I know the video was about 15 minutes, so hopefully you stayed around for most of it. But yeah, there is a lot more to come to this if you guys want it. I have custom arrows, custom traps you can put on the ground and have something walk into it. Kind of like a crystal, but not quite. What else is coming? Possibly some sort of spell system, so you can actually cast spells. Each color is going to have a different effect, like red for fire, green for growing things, blue for casting water, and then all the other colors will have some other effect as well. So I have those sort of things planned out for this, but I was basically held a poll earlier, and the poll said dust gets the least priority for my 119 updates, and so by extension, so will this. Unless, of course, people say, hey, Mo, we really like this. You should expand on it. So, yeah, let me know what you guys and gals think for effect scrolls, and maybe we'll see more, maybe we won't. Till then, thanks for watching, hanging out, and having fun. We'll see you folks next time. Have a good day, have a good night, have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.